March 11th, 2022. I'm watching the 4 o'clock news, and for the most part, if and only if this is the only part of the intelligence in New York that is whatever, there is this term they use for hacked companies, and they have a binary machine, meaning it's a computer, computadora, I think is what they say, though non ci bene per lei. And they're saying that sometimes companies get hacked and then someone pays a ransom. This sounds like a really dangerous business model. What I don't understand is how that's even been allowed. But this is what it sounds like.
That are considered critical to U.S. national interests now must report when they're hacked or when they pay ransomware. The new rules are part of a broad effort by the Biden administration and Congress to tighten the nation's cyber defenses. It follows a string of disruptive ransomware attacks. The legislation was passed by Congress yesterday and is expected to be signed into law by President Biden.
That, to me, based on now that they have everything no longer going through the mail, but by like some form of email, would tie into that whole sending one's blood results via application or whatever with these unknown companies that are fly-by-nights, for as far as I'm concerned. Like, who is behind Quest Diagnostics? And there's a whole bunch of other ones. I don't understand who's running the security for those. Because at the moment, in blood banking and data banking, it's really frightening for biological and chemical attacks on a different scale than just non-binary. Now, this is another thing that drives me crazy. The literature for my sons has gotten so much worse as the years have ticked by in New York. Benjamin, he didn't really like books. He was not a book person. Alexander and Dan were. They were easier. And they had an assortment. They read every night. But with Nucci, I'm actually reading some of his literature, or trying to, just to see. And the amount of inappropriate material and what they deem as humor or comedy is so foul, crude, and crass. I mean, it is embarrassing. So now tonight they have book backlash. There was a teacher in something called Jackson, I believe, Mississippi. He was an assistant principal, no less, who read a book to his students in the school and then was fired. And he was really upset by it. What I don't understand is why some of that material is published in a scholastic style book and passed amongst the children, and why that's their level of education inside the United States of America, be it, quote unquote, being North America hemisphere or quadrant. Why is that the level that they're pushing for, like, my level children? I'm just not understanding the human and where they're planning on taking the future from here.
Backlash in Mississippi over the firing of an assistant principal who was sacked for reading a children's book about butts in class. Toby Price was fired last week after reading the book entitled I Need a New Butt to a group of second graders. The humorous book is about a boy who sets out to get a new backside when he notices his has a crack in it.
Now, the druidic significance of the symbol B, the symbol U, the symbol T, the symbol T, or when the two T's are put together and it looks like possibly an H, a capital H, there's many, many differences. But what they're doing is they're using some of this stuff, and it only affects the psychological interaction between the children and the adults, the adult supervision that's currently available on this side of whatever.
Now, Price says that he has read this book at previous school districts before and never heard any complaints.
I didn't think twice about reading it because I've never had an issue reading it before. There are other books that have.
This is why there used to be a minister or a authoritarian that would say whether something could be published or not, which I know it's not like the new thing with the humans, but it was to protect the children from being exposed to not only the wrong information, but for inappropriate information.
That have much more suggestive material that are much more widely accepted. I just think that, this was a pretty harsh reaction. I've been in education for 20 years. I've never had a disciplinary anything put in my file, not even for being late.
Price's termination letter claimed he showed a lack of professionalism and impaired judgment. His supporters are posting on social media saying he should be reinstated because the book is actually hilarious, sweet, and lighthearted.
Coming up on Eyewitness News First.
But a druidic, just the characters by themselves mean absolutely nothing. It's when you attach a people, a person, or a construct to those letters that then it could take on a life of its own in symbology with, I don't even know the correct word, but in action, in motion. Now this is about the Empire State Building. They're turning it red and
New York
white.
City celebrating the 65th anniversary of the Dr. Seuss classic, The Cat in the Hat. Dr. Seuss characters, thing one, thing two. Join the Cat in the Hat at the Empire State Building this morning for a special lighting ceremony. Empire will be lit up red and white in honor of the occasion.
The fantastical story of The Cat in the Hat has spanned generations as a literacy tool for children and is one of the most famous stories in the whimsical world of Dr. Seuss. So tonight, our world-famous Starry Lights will shine in red and white to honor the milestone anniversary of The Cat in the Hat.
The Cat in the Hat, first published back in 1957, shortly before the release of The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. Two big popular works.
You got time to read them all this weekend. You just stay in, you do all volumes.
I know Dr. Seuss is important. I'm just not sure quite why at the moment, standing in this moment by myself with no access to intelligence community. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. It's Earth, solar system, Milky Way universe, galaxy is broken. And it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.